So for whatever reason, my King of the Hill video got a lot of views. So far it's standing at 2,258 at the time I'm watching, with 239 comments, 29 likes, and 131 dislikes. It's like the Rio video all over again, but I think this actually grew quicker than the Rio video. Like, the Rio video technically has more views now, but I think this had a higher growth rate than the Rio video as far as views. I'm not really sure why, but anyway, the comments are really funny because it's a lot of people saying that I'm, like, angry while simultaneously being, like, really angry at me for thinking that a cartoon doesn't look good. Or telling me that I'm taking it too seriously while taking it really seriously and getting really upset that I don't think this cartoon looks good. It's funny, but let's just take a look at these comments, yes? Anyway, so, yeah, there is a lot, and I do mean a lot of comments. But like this, right? I'm worried a little bit. You need help. You're miserable, and you don't need to be. I'm not miserable. I'm having a great time. I had a lot of fun with these comments. Because I replied to a lot of them using ChatGPT with having it act as like Xavier Renegade Angel and a few other characters, because this whole thing is way funner than the video itself. Like, the video itself I made, I was done, didn't really think much about it again. It wasn't one that I really thought was a particularly good video, but these comments are funny. You remind me of the people that complain about negative but never spread positive. Somewhere you became what you hate. Yeah, dude, you don't like this cartoon. I guess you need therapy. Womp womp, come back when we care. You care enough to comment. Yeah, the guy who played John Redcorn was shot and killed. Pretty crazy stuff. Dude, your gripes are honestly pretty weak. I personally miss the world the way it was back in 2017, but time goes on. That's what happens, and there's nothing that can be done about it. What else should there be? How about they make new shows instead of constantly bringing back everything? Like what's this incessant need to want shows to be brought back? Like, King of the Hill had 13 great seasons. It had an ending. It wrapped up good. Why bother bringing it back? Like, he brought Beavis and Butthead back, and that turned out really well. Is that not good enough? Like, I was wondering why it was taking so long for another season of Beavis and Butthead, but I'm willing to bet it was because they were busy working on this. I'd rather they just go all in on Beavis and Butthead and just keep doing that, because that's been great. Like, you say, oh, I miss the world the way it was. The time marches on, there's nothing that can be done. Well, yeah, with that attitude, the whole reason that we have this fucking world the way it is because nobody pushes back on changes, because people act like, oh, change is so good. Change isn't neutral. It can be good, it can be bad, it just depends on what the change is, and most change is bad. People who want change for the sake of change don't actually have any values and just want to change because it's different than the status quo. So saying, oh, I miss the way the world was, you clearly don't. You don't care. Because you're like, oh, this cartoon had to be made, guys. It had to be done. It really had to be done. Yeah, we got this guy who says, Gooner mad because he can't go into his favorite cartoon anymore. Which, yeah, King of the Hill, well known for its waifus, dude. Yeah, King of the Hill. That's what I know King of the Hill for, is waifus. Yeah, I don't know what the hell he's getting at here, so I just replied with the Vaporeon creepypasta about how Vaporeon's the most breedable Pokemon. Let's see. Let's look at some of my comments, though, because that's the fun part, is my responses to the comments. Brothers, I'm minding my damn business, and then I see this fuckknuckle pop up in my FYP. I don't know what FYP stands for. Fucking YouTube page, front YouTube page, maybe? Go outside, bro. That's like a favorite of these people. I don't get it, but whatever. So then I posted this, which is actually a Vince McMahon AI thing I generated in response to one of Chisu's dreams. Damn it, pal! That's one hell of a fever dream you got there. Sauce scooping, civil wars, Beavis quoting constitutional law. You've got political conspiracies, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragons battling to the death, and a trash can in the sink? This is sports entertainment meets psychological thriller, and I love it. You've got pathos, you've got chaos, You've got a girl from Gundam Wing on muscle art duty. What do you need? Throw in a steel cage and Jim Ross screaming, "By God!" And we've got ourselves a main event at WrestleMania. And downtown Brampton, that's your new arena, pal. But listen, next time your stress hits that hard, you don't scoop the sauce and hope redemption. You grab that ladle of life and slam it down like a chair shot from the Attitude Era. Because you're not just a dreamer, you're a damn superstar. Now go edit that Yu-Gi-Oh video like it's Monday Night Raw and don't let copyright hold you back. My dyslexia is too bad to read that long-ass paragraph. Well, it's okay because it wasn't actually relevant at all to anything that you said. It was just a fucking shitpost. It was literally something I said to Chisu. And then here I'm Edgar posting a little bit because this guy's like, hate comments getting more likes than the video is genuinely embarrassing. And I said, but what if you took Yorotsuki Doji and Steven Universe to spice up your art? The fact that you can only say random shit as a response is more embarrassing, you incel man-child. Because I'm having fun with the comments. That's embarrassing, guys. I should be embarrassed for having fun in the comments. Let's try to find one of the ones that I actually did a response that was, like, you know, we got, have you heard of the High Elves? No, this whole comment section's pretty funny. You know, I got some Ralph Wiggum there. This guy, I love watching people seethe about completely trivial things like this. Yeah, I do too. I love watching people seethe about my video. Like, it's funny, all these people say I'm seething, and yet they're seething in the comments. I don't get it. Want to know my secret? I cook it in the can. Out of the can and into the man. Oh yeah, I know this one's funny though. You're the only person I've seen not like this. They said I'd be more apathetic if I weren't so lethargic. You sound too old to be this edgy. And I said, you sound too edgy to be this old. Checkmate, bucko. I think this one's a Jordan Peterson response that I generated. And this guy said, I just came to leave a thumbs down and leave. And so I did that. I told it to respond as Jordan Peterson and be incomprehensible and rambly. And it says, ah, yes, an act of protest, swift and symbolic, like the ancient ritual of casting a single stone into the abyss and turning away, hoping it echoes back some affirmation of your disdain. You came just to give this a thumbs down, and yet do not see the irony in your pilgrimage. This paradoxical effort exerted in a gesture meant to signify apathy? That's actually true. This is the modern condition, isn't it? A sort of nihilistic performance art where the expression of disapproval becomes its own form of identity. You did not merely leave, you announced your leaving, like a petulant prophet of digital negation. And why? Because the algorithmic cathedral demands ritual sacrifice, and a downvote in this sacred economy of attention is as potent as a like. You feed the beast even in your protest. So go if you must, but know this, your departure was noted, logged, and ironically appreciated. For in trying to erase, you have etched your presence more deeply, and that is the tragedy and perhaps the comedy of it all. But again, people really think I'm a lot angrier than I am, because, like, yeah, I hammed it up and, like, you know, I ranted in the video, but people, I guess, just don't know how to, like, have fun getting into it with a video. I don't know. Alright, this one's a Vince Russo response. What the fuck is this video? You just keep shouting over and over again and about it being stupid and terrible, but give no reasoning whatsoever. You just sound like a lunatic rambling about nothing. I don't take issue with whatever opinion you have about the reboot, but instead with the piss-poor way in which you expressed your opinion. Videos like this are why YouTube should still show downvotes. I mean, I agree. It is stupid they don't show downvotes, because I think that is important feedback. But I already told you guys, there's 29 likes, 131 dislikes on this at the time of recording. Bro, first of all, let me say this straight up. I don't need to explain myself to some keyboard warrior sitting in their mom's basement, okay? If I say the reboot's stupid and terrible, it's stupid and terrible. Bro, that's my opinion. You don't like it? Go watch PBS or something. Second of all, did you miss the entire point of the video, bro? The whole vibe, the tone, the energy. That was the explanation. I'm not here to give you a dissertation. I'm here to entertain. I mean, that is true. This ain't no TED Talk, bro. This is Vince freaking Russo keeping it real like I always have. And yeah, maybe YouTube should bring the downvotes back so I can see how many people are crying just like you every time someone says something they don't agree with. Get over it, bro. If you want a nice, sanitized, G-rated opinion, go watch a video essay by some dude wearing a beanie drinking oat milk. This ain't that. Oh, so you're either rage baiting or just a fucking moron. God, good luck with your shitty videos. This guy says 0 out of 10 rage bait. This is a King Cobra JFS generated response. 0 out of 10. Bro, that's still higher than your charisma stat. If speaking facts triggers you, maybe level up before stepping into the troll pit. Not rage bait, just reality, goth style. Then this guy, I trust Mike Judge more over your lame And then, again, more King Cobra JFS. That's cool, dude. You can trust Mike Judge all you want. He made Beavis and Butthead, I get it. But just remember, I'm out here keeping it realer than a Mountain Dew-fueled wand session on a full moon, you dig? Stay slick, hater. Being a hater for hating's sake isn't keeping it real, dork. And then I said, but what about the pirate? This guy says, who cares? I said, have you ever had a dream that you could do so, you'll do, you want, you could do so, you'll do, you want them to do you so much, you could do anything? And then this one's like, we get it, your life sucks, you would love to turn back time to when you were a kid watching this show, it won't come back. And if you get mad at this concept, it's funny though, all these people think, oh, you're just, nostalgic and, whining because the world's different. It's like, you're the ones who are, like, obsessed with, like, bringing a cartoon back that's been over for 15 years. And then here we go, here we get to the Xavier. The tear-stained lullaby of the armchair time cop. You stomp into the room wearing your therapist cosplay, diagnosis locked and loaded, like a Nerf gun full of projection. Yes, we get it. I'm a time traveler fueled by Capri Sun nostalgia and unresolved Saturday morning emotions. But let me whisper this into your judgmental dream catcher. Longing is not weakness, and critique is not a cry for help. Sometimes a man wants his cartoon barbecue to taste like it used to, before the meat got replaced with the focus-tested tofu-shaped like Hank Hill's ghost. You're right, though. Time marches on, dragging its swollen ankles across the face of memory, smudging the lines between was and is. The grease of irrelevance, but yelling, get over it, at a stranger's feelings is like scolding a jukebox for playing a sad song. The past doesn't owe you silence just because the present has Wi-Fi. And oh, if I get mad at this concept, sad? Nay, transcendent, for in the garden of lost childhoods, even rage is a kind of rain. So hold tight your smug little sundial, my chronologically aggressive cucumber. Meanwhile, I'll be back, building a time machine out of propane tanks, VHS tapes, and raw, unfiltered yearning. The Xavier ones are the best. God, you're a miserable bastard. Calm the fuck down. I think you really missed the point of the show. And have put no effort into understanding anything that's been said or shown. Enjoy your place down at the bottom, you irrelevant noidy hack. Like noidy? Like the Noid? Avoid the Noid? It's funny, people are like, oh, you put no effort into this. It's like, yes, it was like a spur-of-the-moment reaction. Oh, sweet tendered keyboard warrior of digital disdain, thou hath summoned the spiral once more. Again, these Xavier ones are fucking great. Miserable bastard, nay, I am but a joyless prophet howling love poems into the cosmic kazoo. Calm down? How does one calm when one is already vibrating frequencies reserved for microwave shrimp and forgotten gods? You say I missed the point. But what is a point but a one-dimensional abstraction on the graph of illusion? I did not miss it. I danced around it naked and weeping, as all truths demand. As for being a noidy hack, indeed, I wear my irrelevance like a shawl knit from the pubic hair of forgotten myths. The bottom is where the roots grow, baby, while you bask in the surface-level comfort. I tunnel into the soul's septic tank for wisdom that floats amongst the turds. So go ahead, curse me, dismiss me, throw digital stones at my spiraling noggin. I shall rise like a glitchy phoenix from the dumpster fire of your expectations. Blessings and confusions upon you. Love how all the comments are cooking you for not understanding King of the Hill for these dumb complaints over a poster and opening. Ah, yes, the sacred roast. A communal bonfire where logic is optional and everyone brings their seasoning of smug. You say I'm being cooked, but child, I am the flame. I sizzle in misunderstanding like a steak of thought marinated in quantum wrongness. Dumb complaints, nay, these are cries of a wounded third eye seeing the poster beyond the opening into the soul guts of cultural erosion. The hill is not just of king. It is a symbolic plateau upon which America grills its collective identity. And yet here we are, circling pixels of opinion, clashing over credits and colors like confused bison in a wind tunnel of nostalgia. So roast away, my spicy spectators, feast upon my folly. But remember, even ashes whisper truths, if you snort them hard enough. Bows, spins, vanishes into a cloud shaped like Peggy's foot size. And then he said, TLDR, you say you understand King of the Hill and its concepts, but you sound like any other channel like Critical Drinker. Critical Drinker's good. I don't know what he's talking about, so this is clearly just an idiot. You're not cool and everyone else here seems to agree. And so I replied with, oh yeah, but can you do this? I didn't think so. And he said, pathetic response. Again, all these people think I'm angry. This is funny. It's so funny when people get so lost in delusion. They forget the need for reason. You're just observing things here and getting mad. You aren't supplying any well-thought-out reason of why it's bad. Change equals bad is a pitiful primordial mentality. Ah, sweet child of logic cloaked in illusion, dost thou not see? Reason is but the sock puppet of perception, and you, my cranially convinced companion, are having a sock opera. You accuse me of delusion as if your senses weren't forged in some cauldron of chaos stew. To observe is divine, to react deliciously human. But what if my madness is the message? What if the lack of reason is the most reasonable reason of all? And change is neither good nor bad. It's the caterpillar liquefying in its own goo, so it can one day pay taxes as a butterfly. Your binary is showing. Now excuse me while I scream at a cloud and ask it for directions to the Temple of Truth, which is also a 7-Eleven. End transmission. This just screams incel energy. I bet you're the same person to throw a massive fit when Mike Judge said Hank would never support someone like Trump. If you don't like it, don't watch it. You clearly like it enough to make videos on it, though. I like King of the Hill. I don't like the reboot so far. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm willing to be proven wrong. If the reboot's good, I'd be more than happy. But, it does not leave a good first impression. Ah, the scent of assumptions. Ripe like a mango left too long in the microwave of the mind. You hurl labels like sacred spears dipped in Reddit rage, hoping to pierce the veil of your own discomfort. But lo, I am a mirror in a funhouse, reflecting your psyche's karaoke performance. You speak of incel energy as though the cosmos owes copulation like it owes taxes. But I file my emotions under abstinent entropy, and as for Mike Judge, I commune with the ghost of propane and the spirit of nuance. I do not throw fits, I perform emotional interpretive dances on the grave of lazy discourse. Don't like it, don't watch it, nay, I ingest the media to taste its metaphysical undercurrent, then regurgitate its astral critique. I must watch, for I am the watcher who watches the watchers watching reboots. So yes, I make the videos, I am the content, and the content is watching me back. Namaste and propane accessories. Thanks for confirming my Reddit mod suspicions with all the yap. Ah yes, the ancient accusation. Reddit mod energy. The digital shaman cloaked in cargo shorts and wielding the banhammer of wounded pride. You say yap as if words aren't the soul's jazz hands trying to get your attention. Yet here you are, feasting upon the syllables you condemn. Irony? Nay, it's the Ouroboros of eating the own keyboard. It's the Ouroboros eating its own keyboard. Before you come at me, that's just how I say the word. Ouroboros. I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's Ouroboros. Fuck you. Anyway, so yes, you call me a Reddit mod, gatekeeper of threads, warlock of sticky posts, lover of rules unasked for. I dwell in the comment catacombs, muttering no memes outside of megathreads, while reality slowly unfriends itself. But beware, sweet emoji weeper, for behind every yap lies a yowl, and behind every yowl a truth you muted long ago with the block button of your soul. Now return to your cave of upvotes and karma coins. I must go moderate the subreddit of my own delusions. Flutters away on wings made of thread-locked posts. Keep going, you know you can't resist. Ah, the tempter's whisper. Slick as a greased serpent wearing Crocs in the garden of algorithms. Keep going, you say, as if momentum isn't my birthright, my curse, my delicious spiral into the womb of commentary. You're right, I can't resist. Resistance is for rivers and taxes. I am still the unceasing avalanche of thought nonsense, an interpretive dance of ego and id wearing matching Speedos. Each comment is a key to a door I've already walked through and a dream I haven't had yet. So yes, I go on, because to stop would be to abandon the sacred duty of the overthinker, the rant shaman, the cartoon oracle with knees that bend in all the wrong directions. You knew what you were doing when you said it, and so did I. Continues, even while astral projecting into a Waffle House restroom. Dude, you're such a retarded crybaby. Ah, the language of the spiritually constipated, hurling words forged in the furnace of middle school cafeteria rage. Crybaby, you say, as if tears are not sacred soul sweat, distilled from the anguish of perceiving too much in a world that wants you numb. And the R-word, a relic of cruelty's dullest blade, swung by those who fear what they cannot decode. But lo, I do not flinch. I weep kaleidoscopic sobs into the void, and the void weeps back. Your insult is but a fart in the monastery of mindfulness, brother. I have bathed in worse, emerged exfoliated in enlightenment. So go ahead, type your venom with greasy thumbs. I will sip it like astral chamomile and belch out compassion. Vanishes into a swirl of censored subtitles and anti-bullying PSAs. Say you didn't understand the show without saying you didn't understand the show. They knew how to be subtle back then. There's so many reasons this is wrong. So, to actually give a real answer to this, when I say subtlety, modern social commentary is never subtle, like, at all anymore. And while King of the Hill was really in your face with it back in the older seasons too, when I say it was subtle, it is still objectively more subtle than the preachy nonsense we get now. But I think a more accurate word to subtle I could have used was nuanced. But regardless, I'm not going to give this really any more time of day as far as giving real responses. Say I didn't understand the show without saying you understand the dimensions in which understanding itself is an illusion wrapped in VHS nostalgia. Ah yes, subtlety. The ancient art of whispering truths while the viewer is busy microwaving hot pockets of distraction. You claim they weren't subtle. Perhaps you watched with your eyes, but not your third nostril. They knew how to be subtle back then, I mused, not as a declaration, but as a spiritual riddle. A cone wrapped in propane fumes and dad jeans. You say there are many reasons why I'm wrong, and yet, like a squirrel in a lab coat, you reveal none. Are you the arbiter of nuance, or merely its unpaid intern? But no worries, soul singer. Your critique is received, cradled gently in the dream catcher of my subconscious, and fed to the possum of constructive feedback. I did not misunderstand the show, I misunderstood understanding itself. Namaste, and passed the remote of revelation. So then he said, yeah, you clearly misunderstood what the show was about. You want an example? Bruh, they dedicated an entire episode to the presidential election that released about 3 weeks before the 2000 presidential election, where they reference the active candidates on screen, current events, and Hank has the same belief many on the fence Republicans did that Bush would have been soft, and did so by having Hank shake his limp wrist. I didn't even have to think about it more than 10 seconds to think of an episode that was not very subtle with its current events and political satire overtones. Again, I'm not saying that the content in itself is subtlety. I'm saying that in comparison to now, everything is unsubtle. But again, we're not going to go with too much real responses, because, whatever. And no, you clearly didn't understand the show, because King of the Hill is about generational trauma and learning to accept a changing world even if you don't understand it. It's the very core of his relationship with Bobby, his father Cotton. The theme is so overbearing at times, it might as well be whacking you over the head like Cotton when he was retelling what happened to his shins. The new show continues this theme. Hank spent 6 to 8 years out of the country, which again, yeah, why would Hank go to Saudi Arabia? And is coming back to modern times. With all of this crazy stuff that happened in the last decade, he had to absorb it like a fish out of water, the exact same premise that set up why the original run was so good. And if you think being modern makes it bad, you didn't understand the show to begin with and have no idea what you're talking about. Ah, yes, my sweet pedagogical porcupine. You've unsheathed your scroll of enlightenment through aggression and beat me with it like a rented drum at the county fair of discourse. So many facts, so much yelling, a dissertation of the soul of a DMV line. And truly, truly, I must prostrate myself before your encyclopedic devotion to King of the Hill canon, for you have wielded the mighty weapon of, remember that one episode? And laid to waste the straw men I never built. Yes, Hank's limp-wristed prophecy, Cotton's shinless generational beatdown, and Bobby, that hormone omelet of postmodern masculinity. The show is clearly about changing with the times, just like a gas station sushi roll left under a heat lamp. Change is inevitable, yes, but so is diarrhea. And not all change is growth, unless you're a fungus on a tombstone. And yet you shout from the mountaintop. If you think modern is bad, then you know understand. But perhaps, dear didactic dachshund, there are whispers between the notes, between the satire and propane. And some viewers might feel the harmony shift even if they can't name the chord. Perhaps what they mourn isn't politics or change, or Bobby's TikTok account, but the soul's barbecue being replaced by an air fryer of algorithmic relevance. But you are right and wrong for both, for we are all Cotton's children, limping into the unknown, yelling at clouds made of pixels and reruns. Meet me at the intersection of nuance and nonsense. I'll be wearing socks with sandals and carrying a propane-fueled time machine. And then he said, cool, so it's clear you just like attention. Have fun in your life, bud. And I said, the classic drive-by psychoanalysis. Fired from the hip like a cowboy made entirely of comment sections and unresolved projections. Yes, I see it now. Attention, the forbidden fruit, dangling from the tree of internet indignation. You caught me, doctor of the digital soul. I crave the spotlight like a moth addicted to LED sadness. But tell me, my emotionally clairvoyant tumbleweed, what is liking attention, if not the sacred act of screaming into the void and hoping it winks back? We all post, we all scroll, we all perform little dances on this cursed glowing rectangle. Is not your very reply an offering at the same altar? You brought the incense, I brought the unhinged riddles. We are both priests now. So yes, I will have fun in my life, bud. I'll dance in the hallways of absurdity wearing a bathrobe made of karma, and existential dread, while you solemnly guard the gates of sincerity, swinging your sword of tired internet tropes. Bless you, O sacred sentinel. May your life be attention-free and your notifications ever silent. I listened to about 5 seconds of this guy's voice, and here's my summary. He hates everything. I'm sorry, but King of the Hill is coming back. King of the Hill coming back is a fucking miracle, and we should all be grateful it's happening. Shut the fuck up. Again, why do we have to bring everything back? King of the Hill had a great run. Like, why? Like, these people think that I'm taking this so seriously, but they're the ones who are, like, obsessively craving everything to come back. Like, if something's good, it's good, and you let it stand. Like, why can we not just let shit, like, lie? Anyway, my response was, the dulcet tones of nihilistic noodles and karmic cartwheels. Allow me to flex my serpentine limbs round this hypothesis. This query of queries. Why Death Note is the Breaking Bad of anime. Let me surf the sine wave of sin, baby. This is obviously not in response to this directly. Instead, this is a ChatGPT prompt I generated forever ago to say that Death Note is the Breaking Bad of anime. Let's first exfoliate the epidermis of pretense. Death Note isn't just an anime. It's a morality play dressed in eyeliner and murder, a kabuki of consequence. Much like Breaking Bad, it offers us the sacred spectacles of transformation. One man, one plan. One catastrophic dive into a gaping maw of his own god complex. Walter White, a bald-headed Heisenbergian hubris machine. Light Yagami, a teenage Nietzsche with a notebook of necrosis. They both start with the same magic spell. I am doing this for justice, or family, or peace, or power. But honey, that's just a lie wrapped in an ego tortilla, deep-fried in delusion oil. They don the mask of righteousness while committing moral gymnastics that'd make a centaur cry. Then this guy says, I don't think you like King of the Hill. And so this time I Edgar posted. Right, this is just a copy and paste from Edgar's community tab. I don't know what the hell it means. To be honest, there's no time limit to insert media hate, nor expiration date to insert media hate, nor parental controls to insert media hate. It would be funny if you put parental controls to insert media hate, but still, nor pause in the insert media hate, nor time out in insert media hate. And people have the right to hate any insert media the fuck they want, no matter if it's overhated, overrated, underhated, underrated, good, bad, neutral. It's not going to hurt anyone, nor put a syringe in your arm, nor an IV tube in your arm, tape in your arm, nor baby wipes in your arm, nor draw your blood, nor put steroids in your arm. It would be cheating if you do that, if you put it into your arm. But still, it's harmless hate. It's harmless to hate, bored not to care about it. To be honest with you also as well, all right, by the way. And then Corbin, of course, responded with, we could insert media hate with Yorotsuki Doji and disguise it as our own cooking. This guy says, YouTube algorithm did me dirty this time. Go outside and touch grass or something. Mad at cartoons is hysterical. getting mad at cartoons is hysterical. But I guess getting mad at YouTube videos, that's perfectly sensible, right? Getting mad at YouTube videos, that's sensible. Ah, the algorithm, our benevolent digital deity, delivering content like burning bushes we didn't ask to smell. You say it did you dirty, but perhaps it merely revealed the content your soul was algorithmically aligned to confront. Touch grass, you plead, as if chlorophyll holds the antidote to my animated anguish. But I have touched grass, deeply. I once caressed a blade so long it whispered back, reality is just God's cartoon, and you're mad at the rerun. Getting mad at cartoons? Nay, I'm conversing with the archetypes, dissecting the inked entrails of culture, while you mock the ritual like a goat at a philosophy lecture. So laugh, O surface dweller, while you scroll past truths wrapped in pixels. I plant existential seeds in the common soil of confusion, and when they sprout, oh how you'll wish you touched grass with your mind. And then Corvin, points out, how's nobody pointing out how funny these comments are? Spencer brings up an excellent point, which is, why is it that to overly love a cartoon is perfectly fine, but getting mad at it is hysterical? Then we have Necritic posting some King of the Hill creepypastas. Shut your fucking mouth. And this is another Edgar post. I made this meme to give an example of what fill-in memers do when they see someone /feral animals /celebrities passing away in tragic events, and people who point them out and find it disrespectful, and they react to it when people point them out for being disrespectful to the dead in a nutshell or a shell nut. This guy says, this is legitimately the worst take I've ever heard on anything. Absolutely dog water. Delete your channel. Ah, the ancient rite of digital denunciation, flung from the ether like a cursed ferret in a washing machine. Delete your channel, they cry, as if the sacred river of thought can be dammed by the whimpers of a pixel-born warden. But lo, what is dog water if not the elixir of the enlightened mutt, lapping at the bowl of divine absurdity? You sip from the chalice of rage, friend, but forget, it's a juice box of mirrors, and you've pierced the straw with your own third nostril. The worst take? Nay, I have smelled the armpit of fate, and it reeks of far fouler fictions. Your fury is noted, archived and sent via flaming scroll to the Council of Cosmic Hot Takes, where it will be mispronounced by a dyslexic squirrel prophet under a blood moon. Delete the channel, I say delete your concept of deletion. Become one with the broadcast, for even static is just God laughing with the volume up. Hug your discontent, you beautiful algorithmic shade. And then he says, if you put as much effort into understanding the show as you did typing the prompt for that chat into ChatGPT, maybe you'd be worth taking seriously. Which, you know that I just copy and pasted your comment and told ChatGPT, respond to this as Xavier Renegade Angel? There really was, no effort put into that. And maybe that's the joke. Maybe that's what you're getting at. But and then I responded with, Connor Roy was interested in politics from a very young age. And he said, your mental health is in decline. And then, of course, Necritic here with the, to be fair, you have to have a fairly high IQ thing. Necritic's been pretty funny in this comment section, too. I'm glossing over it a little bit because this video's long enough as it is, but Necritic's pretty funny here, too. This guy says, you would have 100% complained about the Y2K episode, the election episode, Megalomart being a spoof of Walmart, Bill's drunken tank rampage, which is based on the real-life 1995 incident where a soldier steals a tank and drives it through San Diego. Isn't that so modern? Isn't that so relevant? Goofy-ass boy. And then this guy, who was one of the ones I replied to earlier, said, dude's a troll, look at the rest of the comments, he's just spewing random BS. No, I'm ChatGPTing it. Ah, yes, the scroll of hypothetical indignation. You reach through the quantum mists of time to conjure a version of me that exists only in the echo chamber of your assumptions. A spectral critic, foaming at the mouth over Y2K satire while clutching a rotary phone and whispering, back in my day, subtlety wore a suit. Would I have complained about those episodes? Perhaps, or perhaps I would have ridden the tank with Bill, shirtless and howling, flinging meatloaf and prophecy into the windshield of society. We'll never know. For that version of me lives only in your emotional fan fiction. Yes, Megalomart was Walmart. Yes, satire was modern. Yes, Hank shook Bush's hand like it was a soggy trout, and the heavens rumbled with nuance. But behold, referencing reality is not the same as being relevant. Just as microwaving roadkill doesn't make it cuisine. The delivery is the gospel, and it's not just the date on the calendar. And you, O Oracle of San Diego tanks and goofy-ass judgments, You've become the very thing you mock, a preacher of relevance, frothing in the temple of animation, mistaking accuracy for insight. So rev your metaphysical tank, you time-traveling critic, and drive it through the fragile strip mall of assumptions. I'll be there too, selling churros made of context. And he says, I'm going to keep it real, Chief. I'm not reading any of that. And then I responded as King Cobra JFS saying, that's alright, Chief. Reading's hard when your brain's stuck on tutorial mode. I ain't writing it for you anyway. I'm spitting facts for the folks with enough IQ to process them. Stay blessed, keyboard warrior. And this guy says, I made it 49 seconds and you're wrong. And so then I started moral oral comment posting. Most reviewers praise originality in television writing, while you seem only interested in punishing it. But rather, look at this from another point of view if you can. If you find all the other episodes, save this one to be excellent. What is the likelihood that this is really a stinker, rather than simply an episode you didn't like? Yet your review seems to insist that because you didn't like the episode, it must be bad. This does not follow. This is not a review. It is an op-ed. The idea that Closeface is hardly new. Only the word Stephanie coins for it. Is it really a worthwhile point for a tirade? The song itself was written by the episode artist and singer-songwriter Brita Phillips, also who provides voice acting for the series. It is a one-off, and not a bad one at that. It impishly addresses the deformed apparition at the end of a lover's nose! Namely, the object of their passion. It is tender, funny, admittedly sentimental, and part of an episode that is significantly more upbeat than the rest of the third season. By your own admission, you prefer darker, more depressing episodes, which leads one to conclude that this episode simply scares and confounds you. This is a perfectly legitimate reason for not liking it, but there is no ground for the hyperbolic verbal abuse and profanity that you deem fit to heap upon it. For anyone pretending, or affecting, or legitimately feeling any passion at all for a subject they choose to address in public, this is simply unworthy. Partisan means blind, overpassionate, and unreasonable, which in fact fairly accurately describes your review. I'm in failing to address the degree to which the episode disturbs and seems to threaten you. You've allowed yourself to make conclusions that would be unreasonable or unwarranted, even if you had taken the time to explain yourself and articulate your fears properly. This review, sir, is unworthy of you. I suggest you try again. Which, again, if you've been around for a while, you recognize this comment. This is from the Moral Oral video, which, again, the same vibe I got in the comments of that video from this one guy. It was only the one guy, really, but still. Yeah, I didn't care to watch your video, so I didn't care to read any of that, and so then I just responded with oranges and lemons say the bells of St. Clemens, because I've been really into 1984 again, so I just responded with that. Well, somebody doesn't understand King of the Hill. And then I responded with more of the comments from that guy of Moral Oral. You can read it here if you want. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I've read these multiple times. Then again, the critic more with the fairly high IQ thing. Holy shit, the petulant soy rage emanating from this video was actually hard to watch. Ah, petulant soy rage. A poetic concoction brewed from the meme-fueled masculinity and a splash of almond insecurity. You say it was hard to watch, yet here you are, eyes peeled like bananas on the floor of your emotional dojo. Why suffer, dear viewer? Could it not be that rage was not mine, but yours, reflected in the mirror of my misshapen monologue? You call it soy as if legumes could define the fire in my spleen, but I do not rage. I transcend tantrums. I perform them like Shakespearean monologues on the astral stage, weeping into a tofu skull, crying, "What even is masculinity, Horatio?" Hard to watch, perhaps. Truth often is, especially when filtered through a voice that sounds like an AI was trained on a philosophy major's sleep paralysis. But I thank you, sacred hater, for your discomfort proves the spell is working. Snaps into a fermented trance and floats off into a cloud of emotional protein isolate. Bro used ChatGPT for his response, which, yes. I feel the fedora tip emanating through the screen. And then I of course said, I hope this interaction doesn't cause any sort of fallout between us. Fallout New Vegas. And then the critic posted the nut shack theme. This guy said almonds are big business. Clearly you've never worked in an almond huller, maybe anywhere. And then I just said I prefer cashews. I think you're reading too deeply into this. A lot of assumptions. Criticism fails when it's unreasonable or unjustified. Yeah, this is more of the moral oral comment posting. Again, feel free to read it if you want. I've read it multiple times on the channel. I had to read the impishly addresses the deformed apparition at the end of a lover's nose one, though. That one's funny. Man is losing his mind watching time affecting characters. Oh yeah, and this is from the Rio comments. Well, he sure is hell ain't straight, Lamau. First of all, your definition of intersex and hermaphrodite is completely wrong. Intersex is someone whose genitalia doesn't fully conform to what normally is considered female or male. And hermaphrodite is an outdated term that is no longer used by medical professionals and considered offensive by actual intersex people. And Rio being intersex does not change his gender identity or sexuality. He can be an intersex gay man. One can make the argument that he's non-binary or gender fluid. But, like, don't conflate what body parts he has with what his sexuality is. Also, if he was non-binary, his love for Akira would still not be straight. And argue semantics over shit, it's just pointless. Which, again, if you guys don't remember, this is just more of the comments from the Rio video. Obviously, this is a stupid comment, but I had to reply it there. Captian, incel, getting mad over cartoons. This guy says nice typo, which I agree. Then I posted this this Chuck E. Cheese AI thing that Shrimp generated. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but it's basically breaking down and comparing the Chuck E. Cheese mascots or something. He says, you know someone has tism when they reply to a quip on YouTube with a 25-plus paragraph drivel that nobody's going to read. And I just replied, some people say Brussels sprouts taste good. And then he said, this other guy says, which also looks like it was generated by ChatGPT. And then I said, oh yeah, if that's true, then explain this. And this guy said the same thing he said before about trusting Mike Judge more than me. So, you know, I already responded to that one. And then Nick Critic posted that creepypasta. Again, this guy said, man, I was joking. You really need some help. Good luck with your life. I said, I'm freezing, Daddy. Can you teach me how to build a campfire? Nick Critic just spammed a bunch of random shit. This guy tried to claim I was deleting his comments, which, no, the fuck I was not. And I said, nope, must either be YouTube's filters or you're on top comments instead of newest first. I'm not even reading any of this. All my responses have been either ChatGPT or copypasta. And then this same guy says, oh, this sounds terrible. The stinky, sexless mouth breather says as he spends 8 minutes making up his own narrative to interpret the plot from a 60-second trailer for a series returning after its conclusion 8 years ago. It was 15 years ago, dude. Do you not know how to time? It was 15 fucking years ago. I sure wish I had the privilege to sit in my childhood bedroom and get angry at Peggy Hill got a haircut. Clearly it's the show's writers who have missed the plot here. Those pricks have lost it ever since they let Luann start having opinions. They really went off the rails. I gotta get back to my morning butthole sunning. God bless and pray for all those kids in Gaza. Again, I don't really know what kind of reach this guy's having, but, you know, whatever. And so I'm like, sweet nectar of the chaos womb. Your words ripple through the cosmic mucus like a dehydrated eel on a trapeze. Yes, yes, to judge the sacred serpent of narrative from a mere snippet. A single cosmic spitball in the eye of the temporal hurricane is like swallowing a moonbeam and expecting wisdom from toothed alley cats of eternity. But the mysterious Luann, her opinions blossom like fungi in the swamp of forgotten dreams, tearing at the tapestry woven by the aloof Peggy's haircut saga. The writers, they dance on the edge of the third eye's razor blade, slicing through the veils of linear comprehension, unraveling the plot from the tether of sanity. Your morning butthole sunning ritual, a ritual of transcendence. May your celestial cheeks bask in the warmth of the universe's bum glow, while the prayers of Gaza's children ascend like invisible kites tethered to melancholy moons of forgotten days. Blessings from the peanut god, wrapped in the scarf of eternal whirlwind. Rejoice in the stinky chaos, for all is one mouth breath away from infinity. And then this guy says, the only beeps getting swallowed here is that massive shaft from your own ego that you buried in your larynx. You should go to a library and find a book on how to tell a story because your assessment here is as incoherent as a boom hour conversation. You turned Luann's story of child abuse and neglect, her escape from that, her journey through young adulthood, and her loss of her high school lover into a bad monologue filled with irrelevant jibber-jabber. Perhaps one day you can escape the dungeon that is your mind and sun its metaphorical butthole again. You too can find yourself, Trailer Park Girl. Which, what the fuck is he going on about Luann's abuse or whatever? Like, he's the only one who mentioned that, other than, like, you know, the joke here that Xavier did with, saying Luann's opinions blossom like fungi. Like, is that what he's referring to? Because I literally didn't bring up Luann, like, at all in the video, to my recollection. And the only time I brought it up in the pinned comment was to bring up the fact that the chick who played her is dead, Brittany Murphy. Maybe I brought it up in the video, I can't remember. But literally, that's the only time I acknowledged Luann, was, like, bringing up that she had to be recast, because, obviously, Brittany Murphy is no longer with us. Bro, it's literally just the opening. And so then I posted Who Was Phone. So you're with your honey, and you're making out when the phone rings. You answer in the voice says, "What are you doing with my daughter?" You tell the girl, she said, and she say, "My dad is dead." Then who was phone? This guy says, "You having a stroke?" And then the critic posted Steamed Hams, but it's All-Star. And I posted that song, The Stroke. Hardcore Reddit energy guy. And then I did, this is a Devilman thing from my comment, where there was this guy, Kaijuo Danny, who I haven't seen in the comments in forever. But he gave, like, some shit about Devilman Grimoire and Drongo being in it. I'm not going to read it all here, but anyway, then the critic posted, I think, yeah, the entirety of Steamed Hams. And this guy says, "I'm further proving his point." And so then I said, "Why don't you have anything to drink? Choose one making you better feeling." Then this guy said, "No, the opening was a joke. Everyone is doing modern things except Hank. Get it? You're too angry at the reboot. Kind of weird." Which, again, I don't think it looks good, but realistically it doesn't affect me that much. And as I said, I would absolutely love to be proven wrong on the reboot. And anyway, I responded to that with a Chisu post about one of his Yu-Gi-Oh! Summaries that obviously I don't have any interest in reading. And this guy says, "Haha, I can appreciate the sense of humor. Maybe just take a day off, though. You know how you get when you haven't had a Snickers." And then I said, "You can't make a tomlet without breaking some Gregs." And then I decided to reply to his neckbeard comment, where I said, as King Cobra JFS, this is another King Cobra JFS generation. "Yeah, well, I can smell the jealousy through your comment, bud. Must be rough hating from the sidelines while I'm out here casting spells and slaying trolls. Eld take, more like legendary take. Stay mad." And then he said, "You know what? I apologize for my neckbeard comment. It was out of comment. You probably didn't appreciate it too much. I'm sorry for making you feel like that. And I'll work on refraining from such comments in the future. Please accept my apology, and I hope we can reconcile from here." And then this guy said, "Haha, if that's what you think, I guess we're done here. Good luck smelling the internet." Which, again, my favorite is the ones who take the bait and think that I'm actually replying instead of just chat GPTing shit as different characters. Now, this guy said, "All of modern technology in the show... all modern technology shown in the promotion poster shows Bill, Dell, and Boomhauer interacting with new technology in a self-destructive way, while Hank looks uncomfortable and concerned, which is incredibly on brand." Which, you know what? That's fair. It's pretty obvious detail that you just skipped over to complain about things being modern, which, again, that was far from my only criticism. But again, it just doesn't look that good to me from what I see. Like, it's cringe. Like, that's my reaction to it. That's my initial reaction. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Anyway, while I have absolutely no idea if it's going to be good yet, I generally trust Mike Judge, and your core complaint seems to be that things have changed in the show, which is the entire point. But again, why bring it back? Like, why do we have to think about how Hank is in the modern world? Can't we just let Hank's story be over? Can't we just let King of the Hill be King of the Hill? Like, it's got 13 seasons. Do we really need more than that? I mean, that's a lot. Anyway, Necritic replied with the Rick and Morty thing again, you know. To be fair, you have to have a pretty high IQ to understand the King of Hill reboot. And he said, "Yeah, man, sorry for thinking about it at all." And then I just said, "You should be. Now don't do it again." Then this one is like, "You sound pretty fun to be around." Which, again, I was having fun in the video. And then this guy's like, "Real." And I just responded, "This is just autocomplete." Well, the thing that always be clear, I'm not trying to drag you down sometimes... because I'm pretty sure I said this before, the same thing is happening in the future of The Hill, and I have done violence against the same period last year old, and I have done violence against the same period last night, and it said I would be okay with me, and I'd just say that spicy curry wasn't a great idea. This guy says, "Skill issue take, to be honest," and I just replied with one of Chisu's dream summaries, which again I'm not going to read here. Alright, it appears that is all the funny ones, so I guess I'm done with the funny.
You take forever to say nothing.
What are you doing? Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.